Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome back to Guns Galore Month on my channel. And wow, boy, do I have a doozy for you guys tonight. I have a 1987 American sci-fi fantasy action film directed by Gary Goddard, produced by Golden Globus, the guys that did, the what was it? All those movies in the 80s and the 90s. What was it? The canon movies. Those were like low budget movies that were pretty freaking awesome most of the time. That is Masters of the Universe. Yes, they do use guns in this movie. It counts. He-Man has a sword, but he also has a laser gun that he uses. I think this movie's freaking awesome. I know they're going to say, oh, it's not like the cartoon. It should have been more like the cartoon. Blah, blah, blah. You know the cartoon had gay innuendos in it, right? Where the way He-Man dresses and the way he talked and some of the imagery in the cartoon. Yeah, there was some. I didn't notice that when I was a kid, but there is, looking back at it. But this movie is just ham and cheese. It's a hammy acting, and it's a slice of American cheese. You have Dolph Lundgren as He-Man. Yes, his accent is indistinguishable. He's a freaking Swede, and he sounds Wildor. He sounds like that, but I'm like, dude, he has a more manly voice than freaking Liam Hemsworth. I would say that right off the bat. Frank Langella is the perfect Skeletor. He's big. He's over the top. He's like yelling half of his dialogue, but unlike Ben Mendelsohn, the makeup looks great on him, and he's got an Oscar nomination. Yeah, Langella, like, there's just literally a scene where he's just like getting the powers, like, I can feel the force is flowing through me. He's just so good to freaking watch, man. I love it. And yes, this movie has a blatant ripoffs of both Star Wars and Superman, but I'll get to that. But it's a good kind of ripoff. It's not like the rehash trilogy where everything you got was just nostalgia up your ass and constantly reminding you of what was in the past. This came out after Star Wars, after the original trilogy, so it wasn't too off. Courtney Cox is in this movie. This is the first thing I saw her in before she was in Friends. She's adorable. I really like her in the film. She cries a lot, but I'm like, she's so emotional. And unlike Bella, who cries for everything and needs a man to carry her, she has a man in this movie, Courtney Cox. But I like her acting. I don't know why people hated her in films. I'm like, besides Friends, she did other things, guys. She did this movie and she did the Scream films, and she was my favorite female character. Yeah, I did like Sydney, but I thought in the third movie they underused her. But Courtney Cox's character was awesome in all four movies. Didn't change the character. She still got better with age. And she's still an awesome actress. You got Robert Duncan McNeil. I think that's the guy that plays her boyfriend. And Meg Foster as Evelyn, who is a very gorgeous woman with cat eyes, great costumes. The costume design in this movie is amazing. It's based on a Mattel toy line. What the hell did you expect for a movie based on a toy line? This doesn't have too much CG. There's no CG in this movie. Like in Transformers and freaking other movies, like the Bratz movie, I think had CG. And what else came out that was based on toys? Um, there was a Voltron animated series. Yeah, I haven't seen the recent She-Ra cartoon on Netflix or the recent cartoon of He-Man that they did a couple years ago, whatever. But I did see the '80s cartoon when I was a kid. I loved He-Man, Orko, and Man of Arms. I used to have the toys of these guys when I was a kid. Also, you have Woman of Arms. That's what's her name? She was in The Last Boy Scout. The film was released theatrically August 7th of 1987. A critical and commercial failure, grossing 17, but is now regarded as a cult classic. You're damn right it is. I grew up with this movie. I watched this movie so many times, I messed up the VHS tape when I had it when I was like 7 years old. Yeah, that's how much I love the movie. I will rewind the best parts, and I love the score in this movie. Yes, this is how it's a ripoff of Superman. The theme is freaking awesome. I wish I could play it for you. It goes dun 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 dun. I love that music. I'm like, that's freaking awesome. Yes, it's a ripoff of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. It came out the same year as Superman 4. What would I rather watch? A decently paced action, fantasy movie with an awesome score, or a shitty, cheap direct-to-video film style Superman movie without the budget. This had the same, but almost a bigger budget, but not like $100 million, and it looks good. The sets are practical, the suits are practical, the costume design, the makeup, the freaking The locations. There is no CG in this movie. None. It was 87. There was no CG until like the early 90s. And it looks great. Yes, there's some flaws in it. There's some things that He-Man's not an Eternia very long. He's there in the beginning and kicks some ass with Man of Arms and Woman of Arms, and they leave. They go into a portal into Jersey in on Earth. I get it, but Sonic, they did the same thing, and that got a numerous amount of praise, and I love that movie. You can deviate from the original source material if you're entertaining, and this is very entertaining. One of the scores for Skeletor's yeah, that's the Empire Strikes Back score. But unlike Last Jedi, it doesn't give you the middle finger and says, "No, we're not gonna rip that off, but do it backwards." Yeah, I have a sword, but I'm going to show you why in a minute. It does, but I'm like, this feels more like a Star Wars movie after the originals than these god-awful rehash movies. And this is not boring. This is in a desert in one scene, but it's not a boring bullshit movie like Rogue One. I wasn't bored. This movie's not 2.5 hours. It's an hour and 46 minutes. Perfect. You get me laughing. You entertain me for a while. You have this beautiful music. The score is amazing in this movie. I don't care what anybody says. When I hear that, I'm like, yeah, it just pumps me up. And I know a lot of people said that it's the Superman theme. It is just a little altered. And who did the score? It wasn't John Williams. I almost said John Hughes. Wrong guy. The narration music. Bill Conti, that badass composer that did Rocky. I love the score of Rocky. Dun 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. I love the Rocky score. I love that. He also did, I think, the first Karate Kid movie as well. Yeah. And basically, yeah, He-Man's out to stop Skeletor from taking over this cosmic key so that he can reunite Eternia and Castle Grayskull so he can take over the world. It's a simple plot, guys. It's not that complicated. There are some characters that are not needed. Like, there's some characters missing from the cartoon. You have, like, Beastman and some others, and that's it. Like, the rest of the minions are kind of useless. Like, that lizard guy, he looks like a predator. He gets killed, like, halfway through the movie. The guy with the one eye that looks like Deadshot, he has, like, metal blades. There's also this creepy-looking guy with white hair. Yeah, they're kind of unoriginal copies of other films, but they're there. The black characters are basically stormtroopers, but in black, but the helmets are different. They're like this. They're not like the baby stormtroopers you got in Force Awakens. There's none of that. But yeah, and they can't shoot for shit. I get it. And also, there's a scene where they're flying, when they go to Jersey, and there's these flying ships and gliders or whatever. It looks pretty cool. For back in '87, it looks better than something from now. It looks better than that god awful Jupiter Ascending movie. Yeah, Tila. That's the name of the girl that the Man of Arms. That's his daughter. I thought it was his sister or something. And I like him. I like the rest of the cast. Like, what's his face that played Man of Arms? I like him. He has a really good. And look, it says Frank Langella in 2012. Langella chose to portray Skeletor because of his son's love of the character. I loved him in the cartoon. And he sounded like this. He sounded like this and had no facial expression. Just a skull that talks like this with his teeth. Yes, that's what he talked like in the cartoon, guys. You're not going to get that live action. Frank Langella doesn't have a voice like this. Courtney Costa's Julie. Barry Livingston was Charlie. Is Charlie the guy with the glasses? Yeah. Yeah, that's her boyfriend. You have Chelsea Field as Tila. I like her as an actress. I know some people didn't. I liked her in Flipper. She was in Andre. She was in The Last Boy Scout. Good 90s actress. I miss her. She's still around, though. And, of course, you have Strickland from the Back to the Future movies as, what's his name? No, not Billy Bart. No, Gwildor. That's another character who was not in the cartoon. They put, instead of Orko, they put him. He sounds like this. He-Man. I was going to share. Yeah, there's some personality in this movie. Force Awakens didn't have that. You had these flat characters that were boring with British accents and freaking useless American accents that sounded fake, and they're doing the same motions. Here, there's people with voices, and they have personalities, and they have opinions, and they don't say something like, hey, I got to tell you something, and then they never go back to it. This has some personality. That's why it has a cult following. Yeah, Beastman, Sarad, Karg, and Blade, but he's not as cool as. No, Kevin is the name of the guy. So Barry Livingston isn't that the guy from Back to the Future? I think that's him. Let me see. No, that's another actor. Who's the guy from Back to the Future? I forgot his name. I know he's in this movie. Um. No, James Tolkien. That's the guy. Detective Hugh Lubick. Yeah, he's awesome. Like he's always a thrill to watch. I would get a DVD of this movie or Blu-ray and let him sign it if I saw him at Comic-Con because I'm like, I love him as Strickland in Back to the Future, but that's not the only movie I know him in. Basically, he's like Strickland here. He has a gun. He's badass. He has that awesome. He's like, what the hell is that? I like the way he talks. It's awesome. And the movie takes place in Jersey, not in New York like the Avengers or other movies, which I like to see that because it's a different state. It's not copying every other movie. Oh yeah, you have Christina Pickles as the sorceress, who she looks pretty cool. I like the outfit, and I like the she's emotional even when she's in this thing when she's like trapped. These people put effort into this movie, despite the negative reaction. They went for it, and it's one of the few films of the '80s to have a post-credit scene. Before Marvel did that in every movie, except for Endgame. There's a post-credit scene, but I'm not going to spoil it. Census. Masters of the Universe is a slapdash adaptation of the He-Man mythos, and that can't overcome its cynical lack of raison d'etre. I don't know what that means. I don't speak French. No matter how memorable Frank Langella throws himself into the role of Skeletor. Canon Star Wars hybrid ripoff. Yes, but it's better than the rehash trilogy, and I'm not taking that back. The moment that He-Man gets his freaking sword and goes, dun, 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 I have the power. I was like, that's my childhood in a nutshell, man. When he takes the sword and then there's this beam of light and Skeletor looks like Shang Tsung or Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat. I'm like, that's freaking awesome. I'm like, he's just holding the sword. He should have used the sword more in the movie, but he does use it at the end. And I love the way the film is shot. The pacing is good. It's got a couple laughs. I would take this over any of the Transformers movies, minus Bumblebee, because those are disrespectful and boring, and there's too many people in it, and they focus more on the human characters instead of the main character. At least He-Man is not secondary character in his own movie. He's in it a lot. He's not in 5 minutes and then he's gone. But the fact I would have loved to have seen this in the theater. The movie deserves better. Warner Brothers released a 25th anniversary Blu-ray, but it doesn't have any special features. I would have loved to hear a commentary by the director. Who did this movie? Gary Goddard. I already mentioned him already. Oh no, he left the company because of accusations of sexual assault. Everyone was freaking accused. They said James Franco did it and Kevin Spacey and this and that. Some people got caught. Harvey Weinstein, freaking Bill Cosby. But this is not about that, guys. As a director in this movie, he did a freaking bang up job. He also directed what else did he direct? Let me see. He did the Jurassic Park the ride. I really like that ride. T2, The Battle Across the Time. That was a short film I just reviewed on my channel. That's pretty awesome. He's mostly done a lot of like rides. But like I said, he deserved a second chance. We have Olivia Megaton directing the shitty Taken sequels and Transporter 3, and he can't direct for shit. At least in this movie, I can see the action. I can see what's going on. I can see the explosions and the blasting and the blood and the fighting and the special effects. Some of them are dated. Some of them still look great. I'm not taking that back, guys. Oh, it's like Star Wars, but gayer. No, that's the rehash trilogy, where you have to have lesbian kisses and freaking wokeness and SJW agendas in your freaking movie. Preaching to people that don't want to be preached to. This movie doesn't do that. It doesn't say, He-Man's gay, and you better like it. No, it doesn't say that. He never kisses another man in this movie. It was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Supporting Actor, but lost to David Mendenhall for Over the Top. Again, I like that movie too. Sorry. When I'm watching a movie, my biggest thing that I need is entertainment value. And this movie entertains me. I wasn't bored out of my mind. I wasn't like scratching my head. I'm like, oh, this is cringe. And there's some dated stuff. Like they have like a, what was it? They have like a record shop and they have like cassette players and stereos and all that. Nobody uses that anymore. But I'm a kid of the 80s. I grew up with that stuff, guys. And this was made in the 80s. They want to reboot He-Man? Do it right. Don't you dare use shitty CGI from the 2000s in a freaking big budget version. I can accept the change. I like the first G.I. Joe movie. The first Transformers movie, when I saw it in the theater, was not terrible. The sequels are garbage. I can accept the change. The 2007 Ninja Turtles movie, it's flawed, but it respects the canon. It doesn't shit on the characters like the Michael Bay produced movies. But yeah, the movie's a lot of fun. And I would, if you've never seen it, go watch it. It's a fun time. Yeah, so James Tolkien retired in 2015, but I would love to see if he went to a Comic-Con. I would love for him to sign my DVD because, like I said, he's just amazing. It's great that we still got him. And like I said, the movie has a happy ending. It is sappy at times. They do change the plot, but like I said before, unlike other movies that I've seen, it doesn't cause me pain. And it's short. An hour and 46 is shorter than 2 hours, or 2.5 hours, or 3 hours. You don't need a long running time to make your point. Just entertain me. And this did. And has a lot of gunfire, mostly laser guns, but it counts. And there's some risk in it. There's some stakes involved. People get hurt in this movie. Julie gets blasted. Yeah, when she's trying to say, He-Man, it's a trap, like in Empire Strikes Back, Skeletor blasts her with freaking electricity. You know, lightning with my hands, like the Emperor did in freaking Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, he's dead. You didn't need to bring him back. Here, he shoots Julie right on the leg. See, they put violence towards a woman, but it's never, they don't dwell on it. And she doesn't die, so, and it works. Because it's like, it's not pandering. Like, it's He-Man's movie. He's the star of the movie. And Skeletor's the villain. He's not playing both sides like Kylo Ren. I'm sorry. That's not what I want to see. Be a villain or be a hero. You can't be both. Sorry. That would have been like, at the end of this movie, instead of Skeletor finding He-Man at the end in the dark, it would be like, oh no, he's going to just turn good out of nowhere. No. Here, it works. Hero, villain, basic, they fight, and it's over. That's it. And I miss movies like this. I miss when movies could just be about movies, not about preaching a freaking message and shoving it in your face. Because that's what it's now. Now everything has to preach. That's why movies haven't been doing well this year, even before this lockdown. And fight me on that. Yeah, because again, movies nowadays don't even try. They just reboot everything and want to do the same thing twice or 4 times. Da, 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 da. I love that music. Just that music alone, even when they play it at the end, I have a big smile on my face. I'm like, that was a fun movie. I love watching this movie every year. It's a film that holds a special place in my heart because I watched it growing up. I saw it as an adult a few years ago, and I love seeing Frank Langella just overacting. He's just fantastic. This is a guy that would get an Oscar nomination, just like Brie Larson, and she succeeded. And her movie was a freaking huge epic that made $1 billion. What do we got with Kristen Stewart? We got she did a shitty Woke Angels and she did Underwater. Both of them failed because you tried to preach. And The Hobo. Oh, she did the Rehash trilogy. Basically this movie, but with a bigger budget, longer and boring. And now she's doing nothing. Chaos Walking hasn't even gotten released. Felicity Jones. She's in a bullshit spinoff that she's got her teeth like this, big and soulless like this. The whole movie she's like this. No expression, just dead air, and she dies. So where's her epic return? In Rebels or in Clone Wars or in freaking Mandalorian? No, because she's gone. So yeah, stop giving me these freaking poor excuses for actresses. This film actually had actors in it that could act. This movie had practical effects, really good ones. Not this horrible CGI we see in some of these films now. This film had real people, not a freaking motion capture or bad CGI animals or anything. No, they were real. There's even a cow in this movie, and it's real. It's not a CGI cow. Stop being lazy, Hollywood, because you're never going to learn. Ever. That's why you keep failing. That's why your $100 million movies make nothing. Look at Doolittle. This is way better than Doolittle. It's got a smaller budget. It has ambition, and it tried. You didn't even try. And you wasted some good cast members here. I like the cast here for what it's worth. And it tries. Like I said, I love the over-the-topness. Here it works. In Rogue One, a guy screaming at Darth Vader, that's not fun. Or him screaming at Peter Cushing, who's not really there. It's a CGI effect. It hurts me. It hurts me. It's overacting. And in a bad way. This is not like Cammy, oh, this is so much fun to watch overacting. No, this is like, I want to do this the whole time. So, anyway, guys, I went on for 20 minutes. This movie's awesome. It's worth a watch. You could stream it somewhere, watch it. It's a fun time. Shut your brain off. Don't think about the cartoon. It's not a disrespect to it. If He-Man died or didn't fight at all, then I would be upset about it. But Dolph does the best he could. And he's not even the worst actor in the world. I've seen way worse. Liam Hemsworth, anybody? He is great compared to someone like Liam or freaking anybody from Force Awakens or Rogue One. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'm sorry every video has to be a bashing on. It's just I really hate those freaking movies. Because they took something of my childhood and made it worse. Just like Jurassic World. But anyway, this film did not do that. I would love to see a bigger budgeted version of this. Take this movie, do it bigger, get a good lead to play freaking He-Man. I don't want the guy from Twilight, Kalen Lutz. I don't want Robert Pattinson shirtless. Again, I'm tired of that. Don't get a foreigner. Unless he can act. I don't want to see it. And do it right. You could do a direct copy of the cartoon. I don't care if it's like an episode of the show. Make it different. You can do it. Just do the whole thing in Eternia this time. You don't have to do it in Earth if you don't want to. But do it right. Because I don't want to see some half-baked reboot that makes this movie look like Citizen Kane. And anyway, Master Universe is fun. I don't care what anyone says. It's part of my childhood. And it will live in my heart forever for trying. Unlike some of the adaptations we get now. Thanks for watching. Take care. And I'll see you guys in the next one.